our next segment is a little something that we like to call 8 bits. We ask the same same 7 questions every time with an 8th bonus question. And this is a really, really fun way for us to get to know you. Very similar to Inside the Actor Studio, except we're not really inside the actor studio. We're inside the Teams chat on Learn TV. So I will start with the very first question here, which is, what is your earliest memory of tech?
My earliest memory of tech. So I'm going to date myself here. My earliest memory of tech is back when my father brought home a VIC-20, which was one of the earliest personal computers. So it was just like a completely self-contained unit. You hooked it up to your TV, and of course you're talking like big 13-inch TVs with like little. They were like little U things, and you like screwed it on to the back of the TV, and that then became your monitor. The whole unit then was your computer. A little cassette deck to go along with that. That was really it. That was actually where I got started.
What were you able to do on it? Like word processing? Were there games at all?
Yeah. So you were able to do some like real light word processing. You could do games on it. And that was actually really how I got my start and how I got my love of computers. Because that back then you could go out and buy like Byte magazine and a whole handful of others where inside of it, literally, it would contain all of the source code for a program or a game or something like that. So you would actually just take that and type out whatever was in there. So I remember spending, because my typing skills, of course, back then were just not real good. So I probably spent about like 3 or 4 weeks typing out all of the code for like a Donkey Kong clone.
Cool.
And it was all in BASIC. And there was so little memory on the device that to do a print, it was obviously, print, but the shortcut was a question mark. You had to put everything in with a question mark, because if you typed out print, it was going to put it over the memory limit.
Oh my
So
gosh.
you had to just use question marks for everything. So I spent all of this time, putting this together, and then I had a Donkey Kong clone that I could then go ahead and play. And that was really my first experience. That was what launched my love of computers, of tech, and then in turn, that's what got me here. This is why I'm talking to you two fine folks, is all because of a VIC-20.
And when we're talking Donkey Kong clone, we're talking like the original like box, like platform game, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
and your little Mario, trying to run up and go rescue the princess from the big gorilla.
I love that. Awesome. We were just talking before we went live about this wonderful place in Oakland called The Maid, and they have the box of that there, and it's so much fun to play.
Yeah. I miss a good video arcade and, throwing in all my quarters and all of that. Yeah.
You got to build one. Just have that'd be a fun little, there was a weird side project that I'm sure I'll do eventually. My boyfriend will be very unhappy we have it in our house. But this is when I was in like middle school or maybe even elementary school, Pokemon Snap came out, which was this N64 game Pokemon Go, where you would your job was you were a photographer and you had to take really good photos of the Pokemon. But the photos that you took in the game, you could bring your like N64 cartridge to Blockbuster, put it in this device, and print out stickers of the photos that you took in the game.
Oh, really?
And it was, oh my God, it was incredible. And I was talking about this with someone recently, and I went onto eBay, and they sell like the original Blockbuster things, but I believe there's a tutorial online where using like a Raspberry Pi and a couple different things, you can make it yourself. And I'm just imagining a world in which I have like a Blockbuster, like print out your Pokemon Snap images in your living room. I'm sure Ty will be thrilled.
I think you have to do it.
I think I have to too.
Yeah.
It's funny because I remember that game because I wouldn't say I was huge into Pokemon, but when it first came out, I bought the game on Game Boy and caught them all. And
Yeah, you gotta
and then,
catch them all. That's the tagline. You gotta.
Right. I even got Missigno. I don't know if anybody knows that one. It's basically a glitch in the game, but it was like, how many Pokemon were there? 150 in the original? Yeah. So he was like the 151st Pokemon. And yeah, you could basically just crash the game when you caught him. Wow. But yeah, so I remember that camera game came out, and I was like, why would anybody buy this? Like, you can't even catch them. You can't even move. You're on a train that just moves around the island. I'm a great
photographer now.
And just taking pictures.
So it was basically the whole game was like you were on a theme park ride in different levels and you took different photos, and sometimes you would have to like strategically throw a Pokemon ball at a certain thing to make the Pokemon come out of the bush and you were graded on how centered your photo was and if Pikachu was smiling. And then of course you got to print out these stickers, which I saw a meme on Lisa Frank Instagram this week that said, if as a child you hoarded all your stickers and never used them, congratulations, you now have anxiety as an adult, which is totally canon for me. And I don't think I ever put these Pokemon Snap stickers anywhere, but I begged my parents to go to Blockbuster all the time, print them out. I'm sure they're in a box somewhere in this apartment. But I never bought Pokemon Snap.
I was going to say one more thing.
Yeah, go for it, please.
Speaking of YouTube rabbit holes that you mentioned earlier,
yes.
I've been down a bunch, but one of them was a video game speedrunning rabbit hole. Okay. And if you're not familiar with speedrunning, it's basically who can beat the game the fastest. Yeah. And there's literally leaderboards and like rankings.
You just like run. Like, I feel like I used to do this with a certain level of Mario back in the day.
Pretty much. But there's people speedrunning Pokemon Snap.
What?
Yeah, it is fascinating.
That's fascinating because you can't control how fast you go. I love this. I love weird hobbies.
Right.
What a time to be alive.
Check it out.
We'll link it below. So our next question for you, Christopher, is what is the last piece of tech or hardware that you bought? This is always a tough question for everyone, even for me.
More than anything else, I think this is just simply going to show my procrastination level, because I had actually gone to look up the questions and I went, oh yeah, that's right, I need to come up with an answer for this, and I started thinking, then I couldn't come up with anything, and then that was about it. The last piece of tech that I bought,
for most folks, it's honestly been streaming equipment.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that's probably it. Like the biggest true investment that I got was getting the lights that sit up there, the new camera, and all of that. So that's probably like the newest piece of tech that I wound up buying. So I'm absolutely going to buy a Duo, and that's not just because I'm a blue badge, but just because that device just looks amazing.
Wait, what's a Duo? Am I not remembering?
The Microsoft the Microsoft Duo, the new phone.
Oh yes. Oh
yes.
My goodness.
2 screens.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Duo. I'm Googling it. I need to see it. I'm Googling Microsoft Duo. I'm like, I need to see a visual.
Really?
Ooh. It looks like a little book.
Just like, obsessed with anything, any sort of a phone that opens or bends, he's obsessed with. So yes, I need to have one of those, like 2 screens, be able to open it up and like, be able to read a book on it or something like that. Yes. Need.
I'm going to feel like Belle in Beauty and the Beast and be like,
yes.
Reading my phone like I'm in a library. Speaking of folding phones, I probably should have saved this for 2 Truths and a Lie, but there was a Pablo Escobar folding phone that came out that was just a rebranded gold painted phone that came with a picture of Pablo Escobar on it. I will link it in the show notes below. That was actually released, had a bunch of commercials and stuff. A bunch of people pre-ordered it and bought it, and it's wild. Folding phones are fascinating, and I'm super excited for Duo, which I just learned about. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm going to make mine a little cover that looks like a little like dictionary or something. So cute. All right.
Using Xamarin today. We have a whole dual screen library.
Whoa. Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
a whole new thing developers are going to have to figure out how to build for. That's fascinating.
I am so scared. Like, mobile apps is hard enough already because you have to worry about iPhones, iPads, the different tablet sizes. Some Android tablets are landscape by default, some are portrait by default, and there's all these different things you have to keep in mind. And then this is just adding, okay, but what if there's 2 screens?
No, it's just preparing you, Brandon, for when it's all like in our eyeballs or our glasses or something. It's like, a cornea, how do I do this?
And developers used to complain about having to worry about 2 different browsers.
Oh my gosh, right?
You know?
Yeah, it feels that as technology exponentially changes and grows, the more tech, more problems, truthfully.
Yeah.
Our next question is, what technology do you love?
You know, how geeky am I allowed to get?
So geeky, as geeky as you want.
Fantastic. Then the technology that I love is WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux. So, and again, I am not saying this because I'm a blue badge. That I very much I go to whatever tech it is that that works. And WSL is absolutely amazing. So for anybody who's viewing that's not already familiar with WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, it's, for want of an easier way to put it, it's sort of like Parallels, but it gives you that Linux environment inside of Windows. And so it's not like having to spin up a VM or a Docker image where you've got this very separate space and everything like this. It literally is that just behind the scenes, I've got Linux that's up and running. And then when I'm doing my development, because of course at the end of the day, like Node and Python, they're really just built for Linux. They just are. And so being able to do all my dev in Linux while still getting Windows is fantastic. So I do everything inside of there. When I want to open up Visual Studio Code, then it's just simply code space dot, and then it just opens up Visual Studio Code. You get this amazing seamless integration. The terminal window that you get inside of code will also use WSL. So it really is, it's that best of both worlds, that I get all of the great Linux tooling, and I get Windows as well, and then of course VS Code on top of that. So j'adore WSL.
Oh my gosh, you just gave me an idea for a song parody, "Best of Both Worlds" by Miley Cyrus from Hannah Montana, but it's about WSL. I'm gonna have to make that. I'm also in the process of thinking of lyrics for the song "These Dreams" by Heart, but doing it, "These dreams are happening all the time," because that's our life these days, isn't it?
As the world streams.
I have been having some crazy COVID dreams lately.
Ooh, yes, same.
Like the last 2 nights, I've just woken up in a daze. I'm like, what happened? Where did that even come from?
The simulation's getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, like things like Murder Hornets, the writers have clearly just given up. I mean,
it's getting a little too close to The Good Place. Like, I'm like, okay, just try not to copy from popular television at least. Come on.
The Good Place was probably one of the best shows ever on television. It did not get the love that it deserved. Karin and I just, we love that show. It's fantastic.
Are either of you watching Upload on Amazon?
No.
What's that?
I'm calling it Boy Good Place. My boyfriend's really liking it a lot. It's a little similar to Good Place, but deals a little bit more with simulation and like kind of what happens after your death. If you're able to be uploaded, your consciousness is uploaded to like almost like a death retirement community. Very fascinating kind of commentary on where technology is going with like the singularity and everything. But I'm calling it Boy Good Place because it's a main character who's a boy, and it reminds me a little bit of The Good Place in a way. I think it may also be Mike Schur. Don't quote me on that, but it's the same kind of group of folks and comedians. So definitely check it out. No, not Ted Danson, sadly. I'm trying to think who you'd know from it. It's a lot of new actors that I'm not familiar with, but I'm really enjoying it. So definitely check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Next question: what technology do you hate?
any technology at any given moment.
True. Printers. No one said printers yet. I'm surprised.
To print something out.
Oddly enough, I generally have pretty good luck with printers. So yeah.
What magic spell did you cast on printers? I don't understand.
It took me 3 years to print something out in the Microsoft Office.
Oh my gosh.
Couldn't figure it out.
Wild.
Well, the reason, so I have this basic philosophy that if I can get something to work, then I will always go back to that exact same set of steps that I went through to get it to work the first time. Like I will never try anything new. Like if this works, this is always the direction that I'm going.
A very engineer mindset of you, Christopher.
Gotta wear my red
and
shirt.
And that's it. So the last printer that I set up, I wound up, having to fight with it for like 2 hours to get it set up. But now that I've got all that done and I know exactly lifting my left leg and doing all of that to make sure that the stars align.
Do a seance. Yeah,
yes.
The whole thing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Then I do exactly that, and I always get the same result at the end, even if it just makes no logical sense.
I think I need to have an exorcism for our printer because it's always when I'm in a time crunch. I need it right away. So whatever you're doing, continue to do it.
I probably, if I was truly going to say hate, and hate's a strong word.
It is
because
a strong
again,
word.
A lot of it will just sort of go in waves as to whether or not I hate something. But it'd probably be my phone. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Obviously I love the convenience. I love being able to listen to podcasts and access literally the entire world from it. But at the same time, that lack of disconnect, that ease of access to things like social media, which again I have very much a love-hate relationship with. Is definitely there. I've done a lot of things to help make that relationship healthier between me and my phone. I'm talking about it like it's a person. So I've
set boundaries.
Yes, exactly. I've uninstalled Facebook, I've uninstalled Twitter. When the edict came out to register your phone with Intune, I went, oh, okay, that's a fantastic excuse now for me to just remove Outlook and Teams from my phone, and all of that. So that's certainly helped, but I still have this love-hate relationship with it.
Notification anxiety is so real.
Yes.
I actually really, I've been meaning to do this myself, but a coworker of ours, Jasmine, has two separate, I think an iPad for all of her work notifications, and then her phone is kind of her personal thing. And I'm on the same page. It's I get so many things from my phone, and I would be lost without my phone. I remember when I moved to San Francisco, I think I had a BlackBerry, and this was before we had really good navigation tools, and I would have been completely lost without the maps on it. And back in the day, for some of the students watching, you had to type in the crossroads and the address of where you were. It wouldn't just hone in on where you were on the phone. So learning how to navigate Muni and the train and everything, I would have been completely lost without it. But I've become way too dependent on it to the point where if I go out for a walk or something, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be hands-free with my phone. I'm like, wait, I need to unlock my door and all these things that I rely on my phone for now. So yeah. I could not agree more. But that Duo, though, you're going to be able to close it like a little book.
Yeah. See, there you go. So obviously I do love the phone and love being able to use it, but at the same time, it's yeah.
I think my dad would agree with you. He's learning how to use his phone, and there's certain things he loves about his phone, but there's times when he wants to throw it across the room too. So yeah. Well, something I want to get better at using that my boyfriend has been encouraging me to do is Android has some really, really cool features, kind of mindfulness app that will help you. It'll turn your phone kind of notifications off and turn it to black and white at a certain point. And also it tells you hey girl, you were on Twitter for 5 hours today. Chill out. Kind of keeps you mindful of that. And once I started to kind of look at that data, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should maybe that's why I'm not getting around to these 500 other side projects I would rather be doing. So you got to get a healthy relationship with phones. It's diff. Our next question is, what other profession would you want to attempt?
In in a prior life, if you will, I really, really, really wanted to be a pilot. I love flying. I'm a bit of an aviation dork.
I could see the outfit, like the captain hat.
The wings, the hat, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, absolutely. No, I really wanted to learn how to fly. I really wanted to go off and be a pilot. I played more hours of flight sim.
I was just going to ask,
than I care to admit. I am so jazzed for the new flight sim that's going to be coming out. Cannot wait for that to drop. And yeah, like the reason that I know the phonetic alphabet was one of the versions of flight sim wound up actually having like air traffic control that was part of it. And so you then, of course, had to know the phonetic alphabet. And so that's like one of the big reasons that I know it was just because like playing flight sim and things like that. So yeah, I really wanted to be a pilot.
I never have played flight sim. I feel like this is like a whole part of my life that I've missed. But I've been if you all watch Silicon Valley, that used to be on HBO, Thomas Middleditch, the main character from there, is actually, he does a bunch of piloting and flying and whatnot. And he's been doing a lot of simulation games and stuff on his Twitch channel. So I'm like, he also did I want to say like a train track simulation or something where he was like, but that's just a whole thing that I've somehow managed to not touch at all. It sounds like, Brandon, you've played it a bunch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I played the original one back in the day. I remember the only plane I could actually take off and land with was called this. Let's see if I get this right. It's like Stop with Camel. It's like the old biplane.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the jets are so hard. Like you jump into 747, you have to know all the buttons to flip and like how to throttle up and pull up the flaps.
It sounds scary to me.
It's intimidating. Like I could start in the air. So like, sometimes you could start in the air with a Learjet and like fly that around. But yeah, when it came time to like land it, I would just turn the game off.
I'm also like really bad at drones. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm just scared of damaging equipment. Like even when I play Mario Kart and I like crash, I'm like, I'm sorry. So maybe I should stay away from it for a little bit.
But do you also apologize to the people that you throw shells at?
That's true. Yeah, I'm just like too empathetic to play these games. I'm just playing Animal Crossing all the time. And look out for my new Animal Crossing video coming out later. Ding. That's true. Next question we have is, what profession would you not want to attempt? It's a tough one.
It is.
I've had a lot of the professions that I would not want to attempt, so this is an easy one for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the reason why I'm sort of like hesitating is because it is sort of like just like a negative thing, and I don't want to necessarily say, hey, I'm bashing on it. But at the same time, there's also just like a lot of things that I just know that I'm not really good at.
Sure.
That I don't have.
I cannot
whatever
be a
it is that
professional
skill
dancer.
it is. Yeah.
I used to skip out on all the dance auditions when I did musicals. I was like, I'm busy, but I did Hairspray twice. Bye. Like,
yeah. I guess the one thing that that I don't think I would be happy doing, and again, it very much is just because I don't have the skill set, which is also then in turn why I think these people deserve a lot more money and a lot more respect than they get, is doing any form of like web design, CSS, things like that. Like I know just enough CSS to explain the basics and to do like some basic layout and anything like and things like that. But anything beyond just like a basic layout, I'm going straight to Bootstrap just because it's got my back. Like it gets me, The
fine tuning can drive you mad with CSS.
Exactly. And so watching some of the things that people who are really good at it are able to do truly boggles my mind. And it's just it's not something that I would be happy doing because I just don't have whatever that gene is. And so thus in turn for anybody who's watching this and is also on Twitter and is bad mouthing anybody who does CSS or any design, stop it.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. It's a skill. And yeah.
There's been some really wonderful websites and just like things that personal websites where when you scroll around, the eyes of the person will follow it. Also, my manager, Jen Looper, did a really cool talk at Build that was how to make your own CSS terrarium. We'll link it below. But there's just such cool like artistic-y stuff. It's been on my list forever to just kind of play a little bit more with it because it's very crafty, it feels like, kind of like artsy. But I love all the cute CSS animations that are out there. But I'm in awe of it. I'm just like, how did you do this with code? How is it moving? This is crazy.
Yeah. Some of the things that, like, if you go on a code pen and some of the things that they highlight on there just boggles the mind. Yeah.
It is truly an art, and I bow down to those people for sure.
Yeah.
Our next question is, what technology do you wish existed from film or TV?
So for this one, so Karin is my wife, and I'm going to steal Karin's idea here, which is she really wishes that teleportation existed. She loves to travel. We both love to travel. But like the journey itself, she's not necessarily into. So like I love road trips. What's that?
So for Karin, it is about the destination, not the journey.
Yes, exactly. It's not about the journey. Like I love road trips. The last couple of years, I've gone out for like a 2-week road trip all by myself. Like I just love I love every bit of the whole thing.
Do you like tourist traps? Like little side of the road stuff?
I will sometimes do that, not near as often as I should, but I will sometimes do that. Yeah. I also like try to find like little restaurants and things like that. Because that's like half the fun, we're going off and seeing different things. Yeah, absolutely. So, but Karin is very much just wants to be there. So yeah, she wants teleportation.
So, she should get like the I Dream of Genie, like boom, like that. I think that was one of my favorite, other than our when my boyfriend and I, we were really lucky, we both got to do a NASA social event in Florida last year, and there were a bunch of wonderful fun facts that we learned about NASA, but my top 2 favorite were, number 1, our tour guide was an extra in Sharknado, blew my mind because they filmed it at NASA. And number 2 is the entry, or is it I Dream of Genie? The husband is a NASA engineer or something. It's either I Dream of Genie.
Patrick's Air Force Base.
Yes, and they're like, and that's the place where the intro to I Dream of Genie. And I was like, I've learned so many things about the CAD and all this technical stuff, but these are my 2 takeaways.
I used to drive by that building all the time because it's right on A1A.
Yeah.
And I used to run the Brevard County water polo team. Oh. And would have to drive up to Cocoa Beach for water polo practice and go right by Patrick's Air Force Base. And you'd get to see that building all the time.
I'd be like, like blast it from there. All right. And this is a special question, which may be a little inside baseball, but we'll explain it to Brandon. Christopher, would you rather be 9 people's favorite thing or 100 people's 9th favorite thing? This, of course, is a lyric from Title of Show, a musical that Christopher and I both have a special connection to. But which one would you rather be, Christopher?
I'd much rather be 9 people's favorite thing.
Obviously.
Yes, without a doubt.
So Christopher and I have this shared love for this musical called Title of Show, which is a musical about 2 guys writing a musical about 2 guys writing a musical. It's very meta. And Christopher actually saw the original Broadway production. I'm very, very jealous.
We happened to be like walking through Broadway, and we were just going to pick up tickets from TKTS, and somebody who was handing out flyers goes, "Hey, there's the show." We literally never talk to anybody that's handing out flyers because why would you? And so describe the show just like that. And we were like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's let's go check it out." And we had no idea of the background. That we come to find out later that this is a show that really had started from humble beginnings and kind of worked its way up and managed through just sheer will to find its way onto Broadway.
A true underdog story. Very,
Yeah.
they started at the New York Fringe Festival, and they, like, literally the musical is about making the musical, and each time they did the musical, each iteration included the previous time they had done the musical. Just
Oh, no way.
mind-blowing.
Yeah. And so when we got there, it was literally the first night that it ever ran on Broadway, and so we had, like, seats way off to the side, and everybody that was there was just like huge followers and fans of this. And so, like, first note that they sing, and the entire place just explodes.
Like a
And we had
Beyonce
no idea
concert,
what was
I'm
going
sure.
on. Yeah, and then we became we just went right along with it and just became huge fans of it, because it really is. Even if you're not a huge Broadway or a huge musical fan, it's so much just about sticking with it and fighting through barriers and just being yourself in a real world way. And it's fantastic. Die Vampire Die.
Yes, I was just gonna say that was like my original introduction to imposter syndrome, although they never like name it that in the musical. But there's essentially this song called Die Vampire Die that's all about people who critique your work and your art and who just need to shut up and mind their own business. And it's so been my like ballad, especially as someone, who's always doing these quirky, weird projects.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And then Nine People's favorite thing, which, of course, Chloe, is what you called out, is then very much just being who you are, being true to yourself. And if you happen to be, Nine People's favorite thing, that's much better than being everyone's 100th favorite thing. So yeah.
I see
now. Or 100 people nine's favorite thing. But yeah.
That's interesting. Because when you first said it, I was thinking I'd probably like to be the 9th favorite, because favorite seems like a lot of pressure. But the way you're talking about it, Christopher, where you are trying to become you have to change yourself to become their 9th favorite. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
You can do the song. The song's great, explains all of it. And also there's just so many things that Christopher and I at work will Teams message each other, because there's a song where they're like, filling out the form, and I'll be like, I'm filling out a form. Like,
yes.
One of those earworms that you just, anytime you do the thing. But yeah.
We should link into the notes. They sent out basically like a whole bunch of words to the fans to do Nine People's favorite thing.
Yes.
And they then like strung that together, singing the song where they were showing all the various lyrics. And they had, like, I want to say, like, Neil Patrick Harris was holding one of the cards, and then Sarah, why can I not think of her last name? Was also holding one of the cards. She's a comedian.
Sarah Silverman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She was also holding one of the cards. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Such a good show. And they've gone on to do such wonderful, incredible things. And I love it. And for quarantine, they actually did a fundraiser for the theater company that they originally did it at. And they did a fun little, variety hour with a bunch of celebrities. And it was just such a joy. All of my college years, I still text some friends from my college theater program lyrics. I'll be eating ground beef in a cup, and I'll be like, this all sounds very crazy, Brendan. We'll link it below. People can find it online. They're like, why is she eating ground beef out of a cup? She's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got 10 minutes left, and in the 10 minutes, we'll talk about ground beef. No, I'm just kidding. But I accidentally skipped a part at the beginning, but we'll just combine it in our plug section. What are y'all working on? What are some things that maybe piqued your interest this week, or we should go check out? Do you want to start, Brandon? I also have a couple if you want me to start it out.
Yeah, I'll give a couple plugs and mostly shout outs, but I just was invited to speak. There's a Xamarin conference coming up next week. So I believe it's July 16th when it kicks off. Hopefully I've got the dates right, but it's called Xamarin Assemble. And what's really cool with this is it's virtual, but it's based out of Argentina. So a lot of the talks will also be in Spanish. Mine will be in English because it's on the to-do list, but I'm still not bilingual yet.
The Duolingo owl hasn't harassed you enough that you're not fluent?
Not working. very aggressive. But yeah, so I'll be giving a talk all about how to create your Xamarin UIs in C# because that's something that is going to become more and more popular as the new versions of .NET come out with this cool new tool we have called .NET MAUI. It's got C# based UIs with an MVU framework. So we'll be kind of touching on all of this in my talk. And I'd say, speaking of foreign languages, I just launched a update to Git Trends, the mobile app of the show.
The official app of 92 and Pike.
That's right. Yeah. And so Git Trends is all open source. And I had a couple of friends reach out to say, hey, would you mind if I translated it into German, into Spanish? And that kind of snowballed. And so now it just hit the App Store today, if not yesterday. But yeah, it's got Bosnian, it's got Spanish, it's got French, it's got German, Dutch, Ukrainian, Russian, Portuguese, English.
Wow.
It's incredible. And it was all just done by the fellow developers in the open source community. So thank you to everybody who contributed. I am always open to adding more languages. So yeah, if anybody out there speaks multiple languages, wants to open up a pull request, just go to gittrends.com and check it out.
Git Trends, the trendiest app about Git. Ding. I just came up with a tagline for you. Very cool. And when is that conference, that Xamarin conference?
Next week. It kicks off the next Thursday. We're recording this on July 9th. So next Thursday is July 16th.
Very exciting. I'm excited for that one. It's Brandon, the Xamarin man. Actually, the first time Brandon and I ever met, we did a video together at the last company I worked at, and we had all these Zatarans jokes in there because I'd never heard of Xamarin before. We'll have to link to that video as well.
The best part about that, we're recording this, and
look at how
we're talking about Zatarans, or we kept saying Zatarans, but we were talking about rice-a-roni. So we're making jokes like, Xamarin, it's the San Francisco treat.
We love rice on every content we do. I have a quick plug. My Hamel Fun app won't be available for a little bit, but I'm super, super excited about all the cool new automated machine learning stuff that's come out. There's some really, really cool ways to easily build really, really accurate machine learning models that I've been playing around with. And you can check that out at aka.ms/machine dreams with a Z. I will link it below. I'm also speaking at the Powerful Devs event, which is all about amplifying citizen developers. And I'm giving a talk called How to Make AI Feel Less Like Sci-Fi. So just really, really easy ways that you can get up and running with AI with zero to little code. So definitely check that out. I believe we're streaming it on Learn TV, and there's some really awesome speakers lined up, including Scott Guthrie. So it should be really, really cool. Christopher, I know you've got some really exciting stuff coming out. Where can we take a look at that? Tell us all about your Python stuff.
Yeah, so currently in existence is the Python for Beginners series. There's actually 3 full series that I did with Susan Ibach, where we really just hone in on, hey, this is what the syntax is. So if you're already familiar with basic programming concepts and you're just going, hey, I just want to do something with AI, hey, I've seen all these great APIs that Chloe's been highlighting from the New York Times. I want to go in and play around with them. How can I do it? And so this will help get you up and running on that. And so we'll have that in the show notes below. I also want to call out not me, but a coworker of mine, Sarah Guthels and Francesca.
Sarah.
And I can never remember Francesca's name, but to be fair, she's just simply Francesca. She's just that amazing. Yeah, exactly. She's a single name talent. She's just that fantastic. So Sarah Guthels and Francesca actually did a data science set of videos that are dropping today. So again, check out the show notes on that.
They would be some good guests for this show. Stay tuned. Maybe we'll get them on here.
And then I'm actually doing C# Corner. Amy Boyd has actually been on that in the past. So they went like real bottom of the barrel and asked me to join as well. And so I'll be on there tomorrow talking about TypeScript. And then beyond that, you can check out the Reactor streaming that we've been doing. We're currently streaming out on Twitch, and we've got some great TypeScript content that's going to be coming up. We've got some great bot content that's coming up at the end of I love chatbots. So at the end of this month, it's going to be a fantastic week. So I'm going to be interviewing 2 PMs from the Bot Framework team on Monday. On Tuesday, I'll be doing a session on building bots in the Bot Framework. On Wednesday, Jasmine Greenway is
Jasmine.
Right. She's fantastic. So she's going to be doing a session on Lewis and NLP. And then on Thursday, I'm going to do a 2-hour, let's build a bot session. So sort of string all of that together and show you some best practices in building a chatbot. So
I'm going to watch all of these. I'm very excited.
So,
Lewis is magic. Lewis is not a person, by the way, for folks who are not familiar. It's technology. But I'm so excited for all of that. And what amazing guests.
What was the name of the Twitch channel again?
It is twitch.tv/Microsoft Developer. So we're currently streaming on the Microsoft Developer account. Yep.
I've never been on that before.
Yeah.
I was on the Microsoft Developer channel last week.
And also, fun little fact, I have started uploading all of the episodes of 92 and Pike and our 8-bit segments onto my personal YouTube page. So if you want to catch up, see any of the guests, maybe you want to re-listen to some of the stuff Christopher was saying, you can check that out. I think it's youtube.com/c/Chloe Condon videos. So making playlists on there of all the fun stuff that we're talking about on here. We have all the show notes below if you missed anything that we said during this. So, all right, Brandon, we're at the point of the show again. I haven't thought of a tagline. We're going to workshop this. But we were talking to Christopher before, and he's been doing a welcome thing because we have folks from all over the world who watch this. So I'm going to point to you, wherever you are, to me. So this has been 92 and Pike. Thank you so much, Christopher, for joining us today. I'm so excited to check out all this amazing Python and bot content and also to maybe play around and build my own Donkey Kong game. So no matter where you are, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good nap. I'm Chloe Condon, and this is
92 and Pike.
No, Brandon, this isn't your name. We gotta rehearse this. We'll rehearse.
Nailed it.
We'll do it. We'll do a rehearsal. But thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And we will see you next week, Thursday at noon. Bye. We need to do some exit music. Dun, 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 dun.